We're going to be analyzing the poem, The Road Not Taken. So I know for a lot of you this is probably some of your first experiences with poetry, and maybe you've read tons of poems when you were a kid, or maybe you haven't read any, but this is going to be a good introduction just to kind of get you onto the idea of poetry. And I would argue that every day and every time you listen to the radio, you are listening to poetry, because lyrics to songs and other things like that, those are just poetry, but put to music. So we've all had some experience with poetry in our life. So when I say analyze, what that means for us today is we're going to be thinking about what this poem means to each reader. So each of you, how do you feel about this poem when you read it? What the author means, and our author is Robert Frost, so what he might have intended when he wrote this poem, and how different people can interpret the poem differently and come to a different conclusion from reading it. So what I'm going to hand out to you guys right now is a copy of the poem and also a worksheet that we're going to be going through as a class. Okay, so to start out, I'm going to read the poem once, and you can read along on your little sheet if you'd like to, or you can just listen, that's up to you. But I don't want you to write anything, just listen to it so we can hear how it sounds from top to bottom once all the way through. Okay. The road not taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Okay, so I'd like each of you to look over the poem just for like a couple seconds and read it to yourself silently in your head. And then we're going to go through the worksheet together. worksheet is it says, would someone like to read the directions, part 1 directions for me?
did Prof. Sarah do?
Thank you. Ellery, right? Okay. So, does anyone know what the word paraphrase means? Or do they have an idea of what they think the word paraphrase means?
Summarize it.
Summarize it, right? So summarize it how? Just like, do you have does anyone else have a different different definition for the word paraphrase? That was good, by the way. Keaton. Yes? Okay. Ellery.
Sum it up.
Sum it up, yeah. So how are you going to sum it up? You're going to sum it up in your own words, right? So paraphrasing means taking something that might be a little bit complicated and rewording it or summing it up in a way that makes sense to us in the language that we would use every day. So obviously poetry is not written in our everyday language, is it? This is probably isn't how we tell someone that we were walking through the forest, is it? It's a little more complicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into words that make sense to us. So we're just going to go thought by thought through the poem and basically translate it into how we would say this if we were telling it to one of our friends. So if you look at your sheet, the first example is already done for us. So we're looking at stanza 1, and each of these paragraph-looking things, the chunks, these are each called a stanza. So we're going to look at it one stanza at a time. So the first stanza starts with 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood. And the way that they paraphrased it in the example is the speaker is in the woods and comes to a spot in the road where the road is forked. So that's how they rewrote that sentence. Would you guys rewrite it any different way? How would you summarize 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood? I mean, just pretend that you went on a walk in a forest and you came to a part where these 2 paths diverged and you're telling your mom about it. What would you tell her? You probably wouldn't word it just like that, would you? So what would you say if that's not how you'd say it? What would you tell your mom? Ellery.
I was walking in the woods and the road split.
I was walking in the woods and the road split. That's exactly how I would say it. So that's what paraphrasing is. So for the second one, the line is, "And sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler." So what is the speaker sorry about here? Or what do you think he's sorry about? Are you raising your hand? Yeah, what do you think he's sorry about?
I'm sorry I couldn't take both roads.
Right, he's sorry he can't take both roads. Would anyone else summarize that in a different way? Or use different words? Okay, so you could say he's sorry he can't take both. He's sorry he can only take one. So on your paper, summarize that in some way in your own words along those lines. Okay, so now we know he's in the woods, the road splits off into 2 paths, and he's sorry that he can't take both of them. So what does he do next? It says, "Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could." So what is he doing now at this point? Ellery.
He's inspecting both of the paths.
He's inspecting both paths, right? So would anyone else summarize that in a different way? He looked down the path. Abby? Okay. Yeah, he looked down the path. Would anyone else use different words for that? Okay, so we have he inspected both paths. He looked down the path. So in your own words, some way, rewrite that sentence. So then the last one says until. So long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. So he's looking all the way until what? What keeps him from looking any further? Undergrowth, right. So what's undergrowth? There's a little definition thing up there if you want to use it for a cheat sheet. Do you want to explain what it is?
Small trees and plants growing beneath larger trees.
Small trees and plants growing beneath larger trees. So why can't he see any further?
There's a bush in the way.
There's a bush in the way, exactly. So the path has turned and there's trees and he can't see any further. So write something along those lines. He can't see any further because there's a bush in the way, there's a tree in the way, the road gets all dirty, something like that. That expresses why he can't see any further down the road. I'm going to split you guys up into 3 groups. I'm going to number you off 1 to 3. Remember your number, okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And you're 1. Okay, so I need all the 1s to move to this side of the room. All the 2s, yes. Oh, did I skip you by accident? Oh wait, no, you're 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because there's an empty desk. So 1's over there, 2's in the middle, and 3's over there. And if you're confused about your number, I will try to remember what number I gave you. And bring your poem with you, though. You're gonna want that.
Where are we, where's the two judges?
2's are in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Can you take your stuff?
And if you guys want to like move your desk to your table, you can do that. Okay.
Let's make a big
Is it just
square
for you?
deck. Here, like, sorry. Sorry. Or we'll start on your.
Power.
Over here. Like, no, wait, like this? Wait, no. Oh, okay. What am I doing? Are you like, did you not listen? The next corner area?
Are we getting settled?
Here, scooch.
Okay, so you'll notice, like situated. Okay. Settled. Okay, so you'll notice there are 3 groups, and there are 3 stanzas left. So group 1, you guys are just going to focus on stanza 2 or paragraph 2, and you're going to paraphrase it. You can use the little hints that it gives you if you want, or you can just write your own, but rewrite the paragraph in your own words. And group 2, you guys are working on stanza 3, so, and both that warning equally lay up to line 15, that's you guys. And then you guys are working on the very last stanza, so just reword it in your own words. If you want to use the prompts they give you, you can use it, and yours is on the back side, so like right there. But if you don't want to, you can just rewrite it in your own words.
Are we doing this?
And if you have any questions, I will be walking around.
Sometimes the speaker will be telling a story. What is this thing? Telling a story. Telling a story.
With a sigh.
You can just say telling a story.
You have to add emotion.
But he's not gonna
You
do
were
it.
sighing.
Okay, so, what are we gonna write down for the first
Telling a
place?
story.
Wait,
At a time.
so, roads were equal.
920.
Shut up.
Oh, I spoke now.
Okay, yeah.
No. U-E-L. Okay. So leaves, okay, in leaves, what, the leaves are what?
4:40.
Oh, there was no dirt marks on them.
There's the definition.
Yeah, there's no dirt marks
A
on the
long time
leaves.
later.
So
The leaves weren't covered in dirt.
Later. Later.
No steps. So no one walked on the leaves. The leaves were fresh. Okay. For fresh. I like fresh. Okay, speakers.
And I will be collecting the notepad that you guys are working on, so
Another
make sure you're
day.
writing it down.
Less traveled by.
And
So took the west used. And he.
yes.
But the speaker knows that.
Do you not have your copy of the goal?
I just put took
Do you want me to
in.
issue another one? Can you see that okay? Okay.
Way leads
you can
the
read it.
way.
I just, my eyes are really bad, so
Wait.
that's hard for
The
me.
roads.
And that was
Kind of blurred.
all the difference.
If you want, I've got more.
Leads on two-way. I doubted if it should ever come back.
No.
He doesn't know which way to go.
Basically what it's saying.
No, it said that
Okay, so which line are you
the
on?
leaves were black on the other one.
Yeah, no one's.
Whoa. Oh, maybe.
Okay.
Leaves are
I
wrong.
think what he's trying to say is, you know, one step leads to the
That
second
was-
step, right?
That,
So after you
that
walk
was all
so
the
far,
difference.
you have to walk a really far distance to get back, right? So it's probably not likely that you're gonna get back. We are finished. So it's saying how like when you make
Like
one
a-
choice, you know, as soon as you choose to get the chicken quesadillas at lunch, you can't choose to go get the chicken tenders. So going to leave on. How do you
How actually thought your name was Miss.
Okay, read me what you have.
Yeah, sometime in the future, the speaker will be telling the story.
Wow, what does that mean?
Okay.
You must say it outside.
He's always just like,
At a time, a long time later.
A long time from now. Okay, good.
Roads that two roads forked.
Okay.
And he took the one less traveled.
And that was all the difference.
Okay, cool. So if you were telling someone this is how you'd say it. Good job.
Yeah.
Sit tight for a few minutes and be prepared to share because we're gonna like write it there. Not just yet.
Yay!
oh no, I just
One
want-
decision. I'm getting someone.
You're done? Okay, cool.
Oh no, you're still right.
You're right behind the camera.
Oh, they figured his name was King. He'll come back.
Say hostilities stuff.
This pops me. Yeah, wait, what are you gonna tell me? I think that one in class, everyone was just like, I don't know, cause like me, Seth and Keegan were just like making so many.
Okay, I can make it, I can make it cowboy.
Yeah.
Characters not me, but I thought I'd try.
Cowboy hat. No?
Wait, didn't Val do like 9/11?
I actually have, I don't even know.
So you have one? No, I got the cowboy
Oh,
hat.
I didn't even finish.
Put it on, I don't There's a, I saw, no, I saw the inside.
Saw the next slide.
Yes.
It's a short thing.
Wow, good job, guys.
It's gonna be a guy.
It's a little uncountable. Yeah, I just suck.
We should.
Yeah, it's.
Alright, girls, we're gonna do the triangle.
Is this an actual like, this is a smartphone? Okay, I think it's a newer version, but I used to have.
It's indented in my arm
So
now.
much bigger.
Yeah, throw it on last.
Awesome, cool, okay.
Oh, what did you
Okay,
realize?
are you guys done, group two?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, so where's my group one? You guys are group one, right? Okay, so, we're just gonna go through and share what we wrote. So, if someone like from your group like to tell me what you wrote for the first time? Do you think? Okay, hold on, just 1 second. Hey, you guys, can I have you be quiet so we can listen, because we're sharing out now. Okay, go ahead.
The speaker takes the road which was not walked on.
Not walked on, okay, good. Awesome, so the speaker takes the road which is not walked on, right, because it's less trodden. Okay, so, also from group one, why does he choose this road?
Because it looks nicer.
It looks nicer, right? And other groups, you guys should write this too on your paper while we go through it, so that it makes it easier to read. Okay, what about the grass? What does the grass tell us?
Because the grass is growing on it and the road seems long.
The road seemed lonely, yeah, because it wanted where, right? Yeah. The road seemed lonely. I like that. That's a good word. Okay. And what about the last one?
The road here used the same amount.
They were used the same, right? Am I completely blocking you guys from being able to see over here? No? Okay. Okay, so, I'm just gonna read it. So we've got, the speaker takes the other road which is not walked on. He chooses this road because it looks nicer, because grass is growing on it and the road seemed lonely. Though the roads were really, they were used about the same. Good, I like it. So, okay, so group two. Group two, do you guys wanna tell me what you guys wrote for the first one?
Alright. Yeah,
Both roads were equal.
We're equal, okay.
Good job. Oh, I wanna see the next one. Okay. And then the leaves were fresh.
The leaves were fresh. Okay. What? What are you questioning? Why are they fresh?
Why are they fresh?
Okay,
Because no
so,
one walked on them.
yeah,
Is it
what does it
spring?
say? They're not trodden, right? And trodden means walked on, like they just said. So they're fresh. They've just fallen off the trees this morning. No one's walked on them yet. That's what that means. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Alright, I wanna say the next one.
Okay, what about the third one?
The speaker saves the first road for another day.
Good job.
Another day, yep. Okay, but what does the speaker know?
One decision leads to the next.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Wait, we should all do the last one at the same time. Yeah, that would make it cool. Right, ready? One, wait, ready?
You guys are talking faster than I can write.
Alright.
What was the last one?
Okay, and the last one.
Ready, set, go. And the speaker. Okay, the speaker.
Who does I think will come back?
He doesn't think he'll come
I
back,
was gonna
right?
say it. You guys didn't say it was the same ones. I was like, scream. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. I was the only one that screamed.
Okay, I saw a hand over here earlier. Did the question get answered? Okay. Group 3. You guys want to paraphrase what you have for me?
Yes, sometime in the future, the speaker will be telling a story.
There we go. Okay, sometime speaker will be telling the story.
Hold on, my water.
Just call the
I have a water bottle in my. Oh.
Okay, so, okay, we'll fill her in when she comes back. So, what about the second line? At a time when?
A long time later.
A long time later, right. Okay, so, that two roads, what? Forced. I like that word. Okay, and then what?
And he took the one less traveled or used on.
The one less used, is that what you
Yeah,
said?
one less.
Okay, okay, and then what about the very last one? And that was
All the difference.
all the difference, right? Okay, so, good. Now we've successfully rewritten this poem into words that make sense to us, right? So, now, with the last, like, literally 2 minutes we have left, I want you to flip to question number 8 on the worksheet, because that's the most important question. And I just want you guys to talk in your group about what you think the road represents. What does it represent to you? What does it represent to the author?
So life is just a big of things like college, money, anything.
So I didn't stop drinking. Yeah, so you're like. You're already like,
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh, Keegan.
Okay, and when you're done answering question number 8, just write something down. You can put your desks back and go back to your original seats. You can, just hold on, no, I'll collect it in a minute.
Oh, sorry.